Can I have the slides full screen, sir?
Sir, are you able to see the presentation now?
Presentation is there, but full screen is not coming.
Full screen I'll put, but sometimes full screen may not move nicely. I'll just check. One second.
Okay.
Full screen I'll put, but sometimes the movement of the screen will not be there when you put it in the full screen. Anyway, you check. If it is working on that full screen, that is perfect. Or else we can actually move it to the other mode.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Able to move or not?
No, it's not coming. No, full screen is not coming.
Full screen is not coming?
Yeah.
No, it is moving here. That's what I said. We will actually. One second. Sir, can you do it this way?
What?
This way, I mean, without full screen. I mean, like this.
It's not. There is no screen sharing now.
Huh?
There is no screen sharing now.
No, what you see now is your second slide or third slide?
No, I'm not seeing anything. You have to once again share this.
Okay, I'll do one thing. 1 second. Yeah, we'll see. No problem. We'll do that. You able to see now, sir?
Hasn't it? Oh, yes, it is coming now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can actually present it in that mode, sir. Sometimes there's a problem with the when you put the presentation mode, full screen mode. Sometimes the slide will not move.
But try at least try once.
Yeah, I tried already. After that,
okay, go to the next slide, sir. Go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friends, once upon a time, long ago, we were all hunters and gatherers. Then we started cultivating, and then all the revolutions came, green revolution, blue revolution. But still now, the sea, the marine ecosystem is the only place where hunting is going on. Still people, they go, keep on hunting whatever they want. But how long we can hunt in the sea? That is where the first question is. Today, I am going to tell you something, some introduction, because youngsters, you have to know the history of how this marine biodiversity came into effect. That's very important. So next slide. So all of you know very well that earth is enough for everyone's need, but not even enough for one man's greed. That is what Mahatma Gandhi said. But no, amongst us, lot of greedy persons are there. What they do is they keep utilizing the resources, and finally we say that it is extinct. That is where is very important. Next one. It's also very important to know that when I worked with Dr. Salim Ali, what he said was plants and animals can live where human beings are not there. But human beings cannot live without animals and plants. This is very important. We cannot live without biodiversity, especially the marine biodiversity, which gives lot of food for us. Next one. It is also given in the Bible saying that this is God's self-revelation in creation. We are not supposed to destroy. We should worship them. Next one. So this is what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said. What we know about biodiversity is very, very little. We need to know a lot of information about biodiversity, how we can conserve and manage for the future generation. That is very important. The present generation, we see, we enjoy several things, but for the future generation, it is very, very difficult. How much is going to be there? Next one. So we can't live with money alone. We want to earn lot of money. Everyone be steady and then only to go for work and earn lot of money. But one thing we should remember, we can't eat money. We want biodiversity for our survival. Next one. So the marine biodiversity gives lot of support for us. So ecological services and economic services like food, oil, everything it gives from the sea. So we need to protect them. It's a natural capital for the future generation. I am telling you, future generation means it is not the present generation alone. We need to conserve something, not money alone, but the biodiversity resources. Next one, please. So what are the values of biodiversity? So there are several values, all of you know very well, but there is one value called bequest value. Value of knowing that something will be there for future generation. This is very important. Of course, we need to utilize, at the same time we should conserve. That is called sustainable utilization. Next one. So this marine biodiversity gives us 20% of protein from the marine ecosystems. All the coastal population gets their protein source only from the marine. Next one. And it is very important for us that there are a lot of animals, they live in this marine ecosystem. Say for example, Gulf of Mannar has got more than 3,000 species in one place. And when compared to this Western area, Western countries where it is only 1,000. That means that India is the richest country where we have a lot of marine biodiversity. Next one. And all our fisher folks, there is a new frontier for research for all the young students. If you want to become a rich man like Microsoft, you have to depend on sea. We have already exploited 90% of the terrestrial resources, but the marine resource, we will make a lot of money. At the same time, we should sustainably utilize. Next one. So a lot of fishery activity is going on. So many thousands of fishes, these boats are running everywhere, we know. Just for example, from Chennai, Marina Beach to Kanyakumari, there are more than 25,000 mechanized boats are operating day and night. 24 hours it is being exploited. We sweep the ocean floor like the way in which we sweep our home. So what will remain for the future generation? That is a major question now. So next one. So all of us know very well about the tsunami. This shoreline protection is done by the marine biodiversity, especially the coral reefs and mangroves. And once the tsunami came, we all know that most of these fishing boats came and then sat on the housetop of many people, many houses, many areas, coastal areas. So this is very important that we need marine biodiversity for the protection of the human, those who are living on the shore. Next one. The very important that we don't practice. Many foreigners, they come to India because Andaman Nicobar is supposed to be the near pristine coral reefs, the whole of Indian Ocean. They come and then enjoy the coral reef, and the recreation is the major thing. We never enjoy this kind of a recreation, going underwater and then seeing. There are a lot of scope in our country for the future generation. Next one. So first of all, we should remember, from cradle to grave, we need biodiversity. Without biodiversity, we can't live. So that is the reason why many of our farmer, that means, long ago, many people came out of their country. Next slide. So they were doing several voyages. The history of marine biodiversity is very, very important. All of us should read why these marine expeditions, ancient people, they came out of their home and then they came to many other countries. So they came for exploration, trade, and then market economies. These are the three important things that made them come to various other countries. Many foreigners, they came to India, ancient India. I'll have to quickly go through the history part. Kindly change the slides very fast, sir. Next one. So this is study of oceans. So first, 200 BC, the Phoenicians, they started going out of the sea, going out of their country, and then they completed the Mediterranean studies. So Greeks, they created many maps for the seas, and then Romans studied the first erosion and water cycle in the sea. Next one. So the Middle Ages, during the Middle Ages, Roman Empire, detailed geography of the whole world they have done. Arabs explored and expand the trade throughout the world, and Vikings were the shipborne warriors and traders. So they came out of their country and then they went to various other countries like America, Iceland, and Greenland, and then expanded their trade. Next one. So the age of exploration started 1480 onwards. People started coming out, especially from Europe. So from the Spain, several ships, they came, went around the world, started exploring. So this is what the beginning of the marine biodiversity studies in the whole world. Next one. So the age of discoveries. So we all know that Columbus has discovered America. So he started going out of the country, and then he did it. Then there is another important person called Balboa. So what he did was the first European to lead an expedition. That is what very important. And he reached the Pacific from the New World. Next one. Through Panama, he went out. And the age of discovery, there are several discoveries that happened during that time. The Magellan first went around the world. Then there are several other trades have happened during that time. And English and Dutch pirates attacked the Spanish fleets. So the pirates have also started during that time. Very important to know that many people, many areas have become the pirated area. So voyages of discovery, early Chinese, Europeans, and the Vasco da Gama came to India. So these are the very important developments in the discovery. Next, please. So 20th century is very important. German expedition, United States National Ocean Surveys, and National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration has started during the 20th century. And then 20th century discoveries are very, very important. Oceanographic studies expanded. And then, several areas, the work has started. I don't want to go into the details of these. There are a lot of information available. All of you youngsters, you have to study the history before you start working on your marine studies. So 20th centuries, there are a lot of submersibles started. They went underwater and then conducted studies. And all of you know that the scuba diving started with Jacques Cousteau. So next one. So there are Bathyscapes is there. They go underwater and then conduct studies. Next one. So there is a Challenger deep sea drilling project ship started in 1968. So a lot of studies have happened in the deep water. People wanted to know what is available in the bottom. Next one. So there is a Resolution ocean drilling program. Drill ship has come, and this has done a lot of drilling and then conducted researches on marine biodiversity and then the marine floor. Next one. Ocean floor studies have started. Offshore drilling platform was first established during 20th century. Next. And this is very important person who has invented the scuba diving. What he said was, if we go on the way we have now, the business as usual, the fault is our greed, the greediness. If we are not willing to change, what will happen is we will disappear. All the human beings will disappear from the face of the globe to be replaced by the insects, because 65% of the biodiversity in the world, the earth, the terrestrial region, is only the insects. So insects are going to take over. There are a lot of nuclear missile submarines have been started during this time. They conducted several studies, and then more discoveries came. All of you know about this Captain James Cook and Benjamin Franklin, Charles Darwin. They all went around the world and started conducting several studies on marine organisms and islands. Next one. So Edward Forbes, Challenger expedition, these are very important for us. So much of information is available, but we have never gone through any of those information. And next one. So what is the future of marine studies? Now you don't have to go to the field. That is what many people they think. Sit in their office, air-conditioned rooms, and then do lot of studies using remotely operated vehicles and satellites. Next one. So this is the age of ROV. So in India, several expeditions were conducted. I don't want to go through each and every one. It has got lot of information packed. If you go to the library and then see, several of this information is available mainly in Cochin. The International Indian Ocean Expedition 2 is coming. That's very important. I will go through some of these important expeditions. Next one. So the HMS Challenger expedition started in 1874. Lot of information was collected. Next one. These informations are still available. It went around the world and then collected so much of information. Next, sir. So this John Murray expedition is very, very important. He is from Scotland. This John Murray has published several publications on the sea, especially the marine animals. I don't know how many of you have seen his publications. So much of information packed. Next one. And his John Murray expedition volumes are really, very important for us. Next slide, please. Then the very important one, Investigator. So this RAMS Investigator started in 1881. It conducted studies throughout the world, especially in the Indian Ocean. Next one, the next one is very important. Mohabis is the next. This RAMS Investigator 2 started. So during First World War, this was stopped. So there are deep sea volumes are there, Investigator volumes. Next one. So these are several publications we have never seen. These are all packed with a lot of information available in the library. Next one. But still, we spend a lot of time and money and spending the money and time and energy to conduct research. So this HMS Mohabis is a John Murray expedition, Arabian coast, Gulf of Aden, Lakshadweep, several places they have conducted studies. Next one, please, sir. So there is the Indian Ocean expedition called Ottoman Naval Expeditions, conducted in 16th century. Next one, sir. So Linois expedition in Indian Ocean, 1803. Lot of information is available. Next, Valdivia expedition. I don't want to go into the details of these expeditions, but lot of information is available. I don't know how many of you have just gone through. There is a Dana expedition. So many volumes of publications are available in our country. Next, please. So after the Second World War, again, we all know that Second World War happened between 1944 and 48. And this post-World War II, several expeditions have been conducted in Indian Ocean around India. This Albatross, next one. Next, please. So Galathea expedition, which has got a lot of information. I don't want to go into the details of this expedition because so much information is packed. Deep sea crustaceans, Indo-Pacific has been published by Galathea expedition. Next one. Galathea 3. This is recently happened, 2006-07. Then the Indian Ocean expedition. International Indian Ocean expedition, about 14 different ships, 14 different countries have participated, 59 to 65. And the second Indian Ocean expedition is going to start very soon. And they are going to again explore. See, what is called India? So many outsiders, they think that, there are a lot of kings and they fought. And they always know when you go into the country, they will fight. But each and every king has got more than 10,000 elephants and 50,000 horses they were having. That means that how much rich the country was. They were feeding all these animals and then keeping it is very, very difficult. Even to keep one dog or one cattle at home is very difficult for us during the present time. But those days, it was very rich. So knowing that India is very rich, many people, they came to India. So this is the symbol in which, they came, called East India Company. Next one. We all think that, East India Company means it is only the British. They were there. No, it is not correct. Next one. There were 6 different countries. British, German, Spanish, Dutch, French, Portuguese, they all came to India and then they exploited our seas and then also the terrestrial region. Next one, they also printed coins. We never went to any other country to print coins, but these fellows, they came and then printed coins and then they ruled all of us. Next one. So not only that, these foreigners, they came and destroyed the dignity and respect of all of us. I don't know how many of you know about these Portuguese and British. They came to our country. They bombarded the whole of Cochin to Calicut, and many people died along the shore. They will come and then stop the boat. There will be 6 times this Vasco da Gama came to India. 6 times he killed all the people along the Kerala coast only for the spice. Next one. So we all fought for the freedom of our country. These are the different symbols what we have in our country. They came to India and then they exploited all of us and our resources. They did not come to capture or take away our gold and other things. Lakhs of Indians, they died for the freedom. Next one. It is next one. We all forgot all these people, those who fought for the freedom of our country. Today we are enjoying the freedom. Next one. Next, please, sir. Next. These are just to remember that, you know, these people, they fought for us. Next. For our freedom. So these are the number of faces. We all have forgotten that how India was rich and then we became, kindly got the freedom. Next one. So these are the faces. Next one, sir. So we got the Chupai Mutiny. So India was so rich, but at the same time, these foreigners, they made us very poor. Next slide. So during this time, during these 1940s, during the Second World War, thousands of people, not thousands, it is lakhs, 40 lakhs people died for want of food because all the food was exported from our country by Winston Churchill. Next one. And then, you know, we were suffering without food. This is what our forefathers, how they died. 40 lakhs people died without food because all the food was exported from India to Europe by only one person called Winston Churchill. He was just telling that Indians are breeding like a rabbit. So we don't need to give them food. Next one. Then the First World War started. We all think that, you know, next slide. We think that, you know, First World War is for land grabbing. This is not a land grabbing war. This is only for spice trade. The spice which was available in Kerala wanted by many of those foreigners. So that is why they fought the First World War. The Second World War, next one. Second World War is mainly called the rubber war. They all brought the rubber because they wanted to make the shoes. So they came and then planted in Kerala, and then the Second World War was started for the rubber. So India was the country where several of these things have been already invented. So they came, before these people came, we have already invented the numbers. Next one, we have also invented how to build the ship. There were about more than 7 big universities were there in the country, including Nalanda. These people came. Next. And then, you know, they destroyed all our information, whatever we were having. We were the one first to invent the copper, first cotton, first buffalo, first rice cultivation, and then barley, rice, pottery, everything was made only by Indians. So British actually took the task of unearthing India's ancient past. So much of information was available only with the Indians. We were the one, we invented chess. Several of those astronomy was done by Indians, and India had lost nearly all memory of her pre-medieval past. The Puranas and Mahabharatas, the only thing was remained. So there was Arthasastra, there was so much of information. I don't know how many of you know about these Keralas. The major invention today, many whole world is surviving. This is called Hortus Malabaricus, the Ayurveda. The Ayurveda was invented, Ayurveda was made available to the whole people only from Kerala. There were about 12 volumes, next please, 12 volumes of these Hortus Malabaricus was translated from Kerala, from Malayalam to France and various other countries. The only modern medicine is only from the Hortus Malabaricus, only from Kerala. So our forefathers were very good doctors. They are called Vaidyas and Hakims. The next one, the first cataract operation was done in India only. And also our kings, if anybody doing something wrong, they will cut off the nose. So outside there will be one doctor sitting, and then he will be replacing the nose with the skin from the bottom, from the leg or other places. So this is the plastic surgery the foreigners have seen. Only in India, especially in Kerala, all these things have happened, and the whole world followed that. There were several Hakims were there. There are still, next please. There are several information which are available, and these are the surgical instruments as described by Sushruta. Next one. So coming to this modern marine biotechnology is very important for all of us. So there are several branches are there from the marine biotechnology, which is now ruling the whole world now, because we have exploited many things from the terrestrial region. Now we have to depend only on the marine region. Next one. We have to go a little bit quick, sir. So future of marine biotechnology relates to agriculture and industry, enzymes and proteins, and anti-corrosive coating. Everything is only from the marine now. So there is agricultural techniques, aquaculture, and there are also the leading, the School of Marine Sciences, Cochin is leading the agricultural technology. There are a lot of industrial products which are available from the marine biotechnology. We have to be very, very, really workaholic to do all these things, products available to the next generation. Bioremediation, there are a lot of information is available, used to clean up the sewage is only from the marine biotechnology. Next one. The bacteria and virus, economic impacts on society, it is also from the marine biodiversity only. Aquaculture, marine biotechnology is very important. Many enzymes are being collected and manufactured from the marine biodiversity. Next one. So social impact is also there. So now that cancer and AIDS is available, medicine is available from the sea, and also for COVID, we will also get medicine from the sea only. Just in the coming years, we can see. There is a political impact. There are a lot of political impact is there between the countries. So who will own the marine biodiversity? Now we can see that, many Indians and then Sri Lankans, we fought for these marine biodiversity resources. So the pharmaceutical business is the one which is now making hell of a lot of money. During this COVID, several people have made a lot of money, and it is all billions and billions of dollars. I don't want to go into the details of this, how they made it. And drugs and diseases, when you just see for one disease, several candidates are available. The same way, we all know that for COVID-19, several vaccines are being prepared, not one vaccine alone. So like that, the drugs and diseases will give you a lot of opportunities for the future generation from the marine. So drug manufacturing companies, they make billions and billions of dollars out of this sea medicine. Next one. Next one, sir. I don't want to details of these. Next, please. So this is only for your information. So a lot of these marine organisms were collected and then kept in the museum for the future generation. But it is not enough. The dead ones are not okay for all of us. So if you go to Calcutta Museum or Chennai Museum, you will have a lot of marine animals displayed only for us to know that these animals also share the earth. We are not the only people who can do. So we will be wondering why these mammal galleries and big animals are being kept there. These Britishers, they did not use any of these air-conditioned cars or air-conditioned hotels to go. They brought everything through bullock cart to various museums to display and to show to the whole young generation. How many of you have visited several of these museums is the big question. Next one. See, there are several identification problems. So Japanese came to Calcutta Museum and then they collected some tissue sample from the whale. Next one. And then they found out that these whales which are available now belong to many different species. That is what the very important taxonomical problems will be solved by these specimen what we have now. DNA barcoding also can be done. So Indian Museum, when it was started, it was initially called Royal Society of Bengal. Later on, it was changed to Asiatic Society. From there, several survey departments have been started. So nowhere in the world, these survey departments are available. This is a marine museum made in Chennai, is one of the oldest one, 1850. And then the first marine laboratory was started in Kursude Island, Gulf of Mannar. These foreigners, they go to sea every year during summer to enjoy the sea, beach. Next one. So these are some of the people. They have published several information on the marine bioresources of India. The Edgar Thurston, the Balfour, these are the some of those people, they were there. So till 1920, 1910, none of the Indians were allowed to work on any of these marine organisms. Only after 1920s, Indians were made as assistants, and then field assistants to help them, and then by way we learned. The first person who became director only after the independence. Next one. So Alfred William Alcock has done lot of publications, decapod crustaceans, then corals and so many others. I don't know how many of you have seen his work. It is very interesting to see. He has also worked on reptiles. Next one, please, sir. You have to go a little more quick, sir. Marine surveyors have joined. Several marine surveyors, they came to India, conducted several surveys. So Marine Survey of India was also there in India before 1925. In 1925, it joined with the Zoological Survey of India. It was started this in 1916. So there are several surveys nowhere available in the world. It has got lot of information. This is the important information which is available for the future generation, also for the country. So there were several directors. I just showed you these directors because there are several marine directors were there. So several of those directors were only insect directors, entomologists. But the marine directors are very important. They rule the whole. Next one, please. You go ahead. Go ahead, sir. So the whole Indian Ocean, especially this Bay of Bengal, was conducted, among which the Lieutenant Colonel R.B.S. Sewell was the person who has done lot of work on corals and then other organisms. His main work was Kopipad. My Professor Krishnasamy, worked under him in the Southampton University and got his Doctor of Science. So friends, don't underestimate the older generation. They got their education without the help of Google and Wikipedia. Now youngsters, they only go to these Google and Wikipedia. So our forefathers have already mentioned that the origin of all animals and plants in the terrestrial region is only from the sea, and then how human beings have evolved and how do we have to conserve. Next slide. This is very important that Samudra Manthan. All of you know that Asuras and Devas, and then they churned the ocean only with the snake called Vasugi, and then all the good and bad came. This is mainly because what they said was all the animals came from the sea. This is what they mentioned. Next one. This is the Samudra Manthan, which they have depicted throughout the country. And then in all the temples you can see, Dasavadara means how human have evolved from various animals. So evolution also has been already mentioned by our forefathers. Next one. And these are all mythology and modern science has taken over. Then conservation is Sthala Vriksham. Every temple should have one animal or plant. So in Nadaraja temple, Chidambaram, you have this mangrove as the Sthala Vriksham. Next one. Then conservation is this Kalasam. Now we keep all our animals and plants only in the Svalbard. But our forefathers have kept all the Navadanyas only in those Kalasas for conservation, and any calamity our generation can survive. Next one, sir. See, don't think that only Britishers have done so much. So during the Mughal period, lot of expeditions have been conducted. You can see that the king go inside the sea with a bottle where he wrote lot of information about octopus and several big animals and during his expedition. Next one. So marine biodiversity studies started 86 and 87, 1786 and 87. The first mollusca was described. 1822 first this marine algae was described. Next one. So these are the Asiatic Society of Bengal, Marine Survey of India. There are several marine biodiversity studies and surveys have happened. Next, please, sir. And these are the marine surveyors. They all came as a surgeon naturalist and then conducted several studies and then published. What we do now is not the same, anything new. It is only changing from chicken to chicken tikka. We just modify what the scientists have done. And you know, the modernization challenges, we sit on a buffalo and think that we are traveling on a elephant. This is what the challenge which we have now. So total biodiversity, marine biodiversity, it is estimated that it is 3 lakhs, of which so far we identified only 1 lakh and India has got 21,000. Next, please. So when you see the whole world scenario, just 1 ml of seawater contains how many virus, how many bacteria, how many lakhs and lakhs of bacteria and virus microbes they have got. So when you just see the key oceanic regions, Australia has got 32,000, China 22,000, India 21,000. So there are a lot of scope for Indian scientists to work, and the highest species endemicity is only New Zealand, Antarctica, Australia and South Africa. Why? How much is in India? We do not know. In all these Indian Ocean, India is the one which is topping with lot of biodiversity. Next one. So we have lot of different marine ecosystems, not other countries they have got. So India has got all different types of marine ecosystems, like you have this mangrove, coral and whatnot, estuaries. But how much work has been done, that I will tell you now. Next one, please, sir. So marine invertebrates, biodiversity, when we go, start, please go. So a lot of work has been done. Marine biodiversity now is going on. Among all the things, no, only echinoderms, they are more in number. These are the graphs which we show that how much marine biodiversity we have identified. Next. But you know, the forthcoming slides will tell you when we started all these marine biodiversity, both flora and fauna. So when you just, for example, Porifera started, and Anthozoa scleractin started 1847 by Rink, then Ctenophora 1915. So these are very important to us. When the work was started, who are all the people working? So University of Madras, Andhra University, NAO, CMFRI, Cochin University, several other universities are working on this. Next one, please, sir. So these are different organisms which are available and who are all working. Kerala University working on parasitic copepods. Even Cochin University is working. Next, sir. So just for information only, if you want to know, this is very important information that who are all working and what are all the different works which are happened in different groups of animals, and how much is left over also we'll know. Next one, sir. Next one. I don't want to go into the details of this because very important. As I told you, we have all different types of ecosystem. Among all the ecosystem, the one which is unexplored was the deep sea ocean. There are several of those areas where we can do a lot of research, but we'll see how we can do that. See, this coastal ecosystem, India has got 3 Gulf of Mannar, Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Kambat, 2 island groups, Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar, and 8,000 kilometers of coast, and with the varieties of these habitats. So we also have got several of these areas where shelf region is very important to us. Exclusive economic zone is there. These are the habitats which is very important, friends. Several habitats have not been explored. For example, salt affected area, salt marsh, and then beach vegetation. Very little work has been done. So we need to concentrate on several of these areas. I will just give you what are all the gap areas. Lagoon, we have got 8 lagoons and 8 lagoons east and west, but very, very less studies have happened in this lagoon ecosystem. Estuary, still a virgin area. No comprehensive studies have happened in these estuaries. Next one, sir. Mangrove ecosystem is very important to us. It is the one which is protecting. Next one. And there, India stands 6th in the world, the mangrove diversity. Next. So we have 420 plants and then 1,862 animals which are living in this mangrove ecosystem. Next one, sir. Seagrass ecosystem is very important, very less studied. It's still a virgin area. What are all the fauna and flora associated with the seagrass ecosystem? No work has been done. So third, India stands third in the world. Next, please. So these are the commercially exploited seaweeds. Several of these seaweeds are exploited. Tons and tons of seaweeds are being collected. Then 844 species of seaweed is available in our country. Several native species are going away from our country now because they become very, very less because of the introduction of alien invasive species. Next one. So sponges, there is no export available in our country after this Thomas from CMFRA. I don't know how many of you are working on these sponges. It's a very important group. Several of these sponges are not available in the sea because during trawling operation, all these sponges are being taken out. Next one, and thrown on the seashore. So India has got 453 species. Next slide, sir. So there is a lot of scope for working on the sponges, but still very less number of people are working on these sponges because there is no expertise available, and how to identify these species is still a question mark. So again, going back, sir. Next one. You are going back. Please go ahead. Okay. Among these coelacanths are very, very less experts. I should say that nobody is working on this Cubosova or Anthosova. Is there anybody who is working? Just please tell me. I'll be very happy to know. Next one. Hydras. Hydrozoa is a very important field. There is not even a single person. Jellyfish, now the area of Kerala University. Ctenophores, 1 or 2 studies here and there. Not much studies have happened. Next one. Coral reef. Next slide, please. So coral reef ecosystem is very important. Our country is protected in the north by Himalaya, but all the other 3 sites, 24/7, 365 days, these coral reefs are protecting the shore. India, actually, it ranks 7th in the world, having lot of coral reef areas and near pristine coral reefs still available in Andaman Nicobar. And very important thing is that India has got all the 3 different types of coral reefs what is available in the world. We have lagoonal coral reefs only in Lakshadweep. Next one, please, sir. So I'll just show you that, we have published a paper, and then we have counted that 585 species are available in India, because there is a golden triangle between Malaysia and then Indonesia and Philippines. That is where more than 800 species of corals are available. But India now, it has got more than 583 species. So these are some of the examples how they look like. They are beautifully colored and they give home for more than 3,000 animals. Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. So this is Tubipora musica, is the one which is used in Ayurvedic. Their population is going down. So we have got beautiful coral reefs around available in our country. Please, next. Please keep going. Keep going, sir. These are the coral reefs. When you go underwater, you can see, but you have to learn this scuba diving to see all these things. So the excellent coral reefs only in the whole of Indian Ocean near pristine. These Lakshadweep coral reefs, they are beautiful in nature and they accommodate more than 600 species of coral reef fishes. Next, please. Next. Next, sir. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one, sir. Yes. So this is, please go back. One slide back. Okay. So next slide. Sir, back. You are going back. I want you to go forward. Yes. This is the one which I have seen during the start of my career, coral reef studies in 1998. These corals were beautifully colored. They always spawn and we get more corals. So after that, today what is happening is, next one slide. So this is what the present day coral reefs are. They are all completely degraded. It is mainly because our human waste and sewage is going to the sea. So the whole coast is used as a toilet. So these disease producing organisms like E. coli and Salmonella, they kill all these corals. So still we need lot of studies to happen. So that ocean floor and sediments, it is like the three-dimensional view is very important. You can see this Ganges coming from the top and then going up to the beyond Sri Lanka. So the whole country is washed every year 2 times, and all the sewage and dirt is coming to the ocean. So on the eastern side, all the rivers are entering into the sea and kills all the coral. And all our municipal sewage is only going to the sea. So the future of corals in India is really a very, very important factor we should know. So when these corals, they die, who is going to protect? The corals are diseased. I don't know whether COVID affects these corals or not. I do not know. But several of these corals are diseased. They also get bleached because of the climate change, which is happening now. So several areas, corals have been completely, gone bleaching. After that, they die. Next one. So mechanized fishing is also another important thing which is creating problem to the corals. Next one, sir, please go ahead. And this soft corals, India is having more than 115 species. And many of these soft corals are not available. Gorgonians are becoming lesser and less. Before we complete the studies on Gorgonians, what is available. Once upon a time during my, when I started my career, lot of Gorgonids were exported to other countries for medicinal purpose. So that is why we lost all our corals. And crustacea, more than 3,909 species are available. And among all the places, Andaman has got a very good amount of these crustaceans. Many of these crustaceans, very less number of people are working now. So you can just count on the experts. So these are the crabs which show the bioindicators, the health of the sea. So the brachyuran crabs, the other crabs are very important for the ecosystem. And you see this is a robber crab which is available only in Andaman Nicobar, especially in Nicobar region. Their size is high and they are also Schedule 1 species. So we need people to work on several of these groups. And I think Dr. Jayachandran is here. So he's the only person still carrying work on the prawns and other things. Still, I can count on many, less number of people are working on these groups. We need several experts. We export prawn, we get lot of revenue from this. And again, coming to mollusca, several species are now becoming lesser and lesser. India has got 5,202 species. Whatever imagination you have, when you go underwater, you get different types of these mollusks. So these mollusks are becoming very less. Once upon a time, India is the country where lot of pearl oysters were exported. Now there is no pearl oyster. Only we have Pearl City Express. That is what we have to be happy. So the mollusca, that cowdies, or we call it as chori, that was once used as money. They are not available now in the sea. So people, they collect all these things from the shore when they go to the seashore beach, bring it home and then throw it in the dustbin. This is what we have been doing regularly. Several of these organisms are not available in the sea at all. So you too have to take photographs of all these things and then keep it at home along with your grandfather and grandmother. Because in the future, we are not going to see any of these. This top shell, Procus niloticus, it was used for button making, is no more available. And there is a big problem going on between the commercial people and the government that how to stop this. Because clandestinely they collect. So Ophithobrang is the very, very important group, beautifully colored animal. Only 1 or 2 people are working. And then if they are beautifully colored, they are all called sea slugs. Next one, sir. So very less number of people are working on these squids and cuttlefish. CMFRI is the only organization which is working. So the seashells are becoming very less. Pycnogonida, the sea spider, 37 species available. You tell me who is working on this. Very rarely when you come across they work. Polyclads, again these polycleats are very less number of people or nobody is working on this, sir. Next one. Coming to echinoderms, very important group, 784 species are there. But the red mark which I have given in the map, that is where these echinoderms are exploited. So several of these, please go ahead, sir. Several of these groups are not being worked out. And next one, the very important thing is that now, next please, sir. Next slide. Yes, these are the very important one. Lot of meetings are happening in the country, even in Wildlife Institute of India. They want to have relaxation for this collection of these holothurians, because these Japanese and Taiwanese, they make soup out of it, and then they think that when they take this sea cucumber soup, they become intelligent. So from India, all the sea cucumbers are collected and then sent abroad, make them intelligent, and then we remain full here. These sea cucumbers are very important, sir. They are the bioturbators, like earthworm of the soil. Just stop here. There are several least studied unexplored taxa is available in our country. Out of 37 phyla, 24 are marine and 12 are exclusively marine. So the list which I have given, very less number of people or nobody is working. The cephalochordates and urochordates, there was only one Meenakshi was working in Tuticorin. She retired and nobody is working. There is incomplete study on cephalochordates and urochordates. And next one. And also the Balanoglasses is available in Kurusade Island. Next slide, sir. Next slide. So the fishes are very important. India ranks fourth in the world. There are 13 fish consuming states in India. They keep collecting the fishes throughout the year, and finally they blame that tsunami has taken away all the fishes. A lot of export is happening from our country. We get several millions of dollars out of this fishery. Fish processing centers are there. Please go ahead, sir. Next slide. So lot of best products are being sent from India to abroad. Next, sir. Next. So these are the very important one. All these animals, sharks, rays, and guitar fishes are now not going to be there. You have to take photographs and then keep it at home, because their numbers have become very, very less. And India ranks fourth in the world. The fishery, diversity of marine fishes, next one. So we get lot of dollars from various parts of the country because of the export of these marine fish. Coming to these turtles, out of 6 turtles, India has got 5 turtles, 26 snakes, and 4 crocodiles are there. Next one. So they are nesting throughout the coast, and especially in the Geher Mata, more than 7 lakhs turtles they come. So several of these shore birds are coming to India. They are all migratory birds. They come to India, especially this year. Point Calimere has got maximum number of marine birds, those who have visited there. So these are all critically endangered birds which are there. Next one. So 25 different species of whales and dolphins. They are no more seen on the shore. We have to see only the drawings or photographs. So only when they die, they come to the shore. So many of these whales, and please stop this. This slide is very important. There are several of these mountains which are available in the Indian Ocean, for which many countries are coming. So they are coming here only to collect all the resources. This Indian Ocean is very important, and these are the areas where several of these resources are being exploited by other countries. The whole of Indian Ocean should be a sanctuary now. Otherwise, all our resources will be depleted. So great India, what are we doing with this biodiversity? All the coral reefs are being destroyed. Next, all the sponges which are available. Next one, please, sir. The sponges which are available in the sea is being collected and thrown on the shore, because we don't eat them, because this is having lot of anti-cancer, anti-glucemia, antivirus, anti-AIDS medicines are available. Can we call India a land of diversity and destruction? Several of our wetlands are being disturbed and coral reefs are destroyed. So there are major threats to our biodiversity, especially natural one, which are including tsunami. And major human threat is that global climate change and ozone depletion. There are a lot of invasive species are there. They are also destroying our biodiversity. How do we conserve our marine biodiversity? There are traditional methods which is not sufficient. There are modern methodologies have been brought out. There are acts. strategies, management, fishing holidays, and so many things. You see, there are more than 33 different acts are there for conservation of biodiversity. Do we know any of these acts? There are several marine protected areas are there, marine national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and then biosphere reserves throughout our country. Next one. But these marine national parks and biosphere reserves are, whether they are being conserved, lot of fishing activity is happening because lot of fishes are available in these areas. So at least 885 species are protected now under the Wildlife Act schedule. So these species are going to go anyway from us because their numbers have become very less. Even the whale shark is being hunted. Several of these, sea cow is being hunted. Their numbers have become very, very less. And is there any research happening on this conservation? That's a very difficult question. So there are several universities, several ministries, and several organizations. They are working on different marine organisms. Still, the problem is more in number. Next one. So quickly go through. These are some of the protected species which are available now. So their numbers are increasing. More than 850 species are now protected under the Wildlife Act 1972. There are also some species which are protected under Section 39 of the Biodiversity Act. Next one, please, sir. So these are the sea cucumbers, protected fishes, sea horses, pipe fishes. They are all protected. Sharks, rays, and guitar fishes. Next one, sir. These are the different sharks which are protected. Shark fin is being exported from our country. And then next one, the reptiles. Just for you to know, these are the sea turtles which are being protected in our country. Next, please, sir. These are the 5 different turtles, among which this green turtle is nesting everywhere. Olive ridley is nesting everywhere in the country. So the dolphins are no more available in the sea. Very difficult to see them. And also these whales, especially this sperm whale which is breeding in India, especially the Bay of Bengal. Still, there is a confirmation needed. This is the sea cow dugong, is also very less in number because seagrass areas are not available, very less. Next one, please, sir. So conservation and management is a very important one. How do we conserve? We need to have several of these, aquaculture technologies have to be developed and then utilized, because still cultivation is happening only on the land, not much in the sea. So crab culture, we need to do a lot of marine culture, lobster fattening, lobster culture also is needed. This is very important. This marine biology, Department of Marine Biology should take up shrimp hatcheries. And also we need to, next one, sir. Next one. We need to do, next please. We need to do a lot of sea ranching of several of these organisms which are becoming very, very less in number. So these are the one which is need of the hour. Next one, sir. So these are all the aquacultures, and sea farming methodology is there. So we need to do a lot of sea farming. There is a lot of scope for youngsters to do this, and then they become rich. Sea ranching of lobsters are necessary. Many of these lobsters are not available. Sea ranching of crabs, because laboratory techniques are needed, and then we need to sea ranch so that we'll get several of these organisms available. Next one, sir. Ornamental fishes, sea ranching of sea cucumbers. This is what we are fighting for. Sea ranching of sea horses is necessary. So there are major gap areas in the marine biodiversity studies. As I told you, out of 37 phyla, 24 are marine and 12 are exclusively marine. So many of these lesser known, next please, lesser known phylas are there. There is nobody is working, or very less work is happening. Next slide, sir. So these are the major habitats wherein no study or less studies are happening. So lot of gap areas are there. Next one. There are marine protected areas. What is available in these marine protected areas? And very less experts, less facility, less funds. So this is conservation is very important. Scientists say the universe is made up of proton, neutron, and electron. But amongst us, there are a lot of morons are there. They create problem to the marine biodiversity. Not only that, conducting of studies, So this is what our sea is completely filled with the plastic. So no, you can't say that no, somebody else has done this. It is only we have done this and then trying to solve the problem. Next slide. So wherever you go, the whole shore is filled with all these nonsense things, and this is creating problem to the biodiversity. Next one, sir. So we have got lot of government initiative on this. I don't know how much we are party to this. Next one. So there is a Millennium Development Goals. So this is what India has signed. Poverty and hunger we have to eradicate. Child mortality we have to reduce. Global Partnership for Development we have to do that. Next one. So how many of you know about these Aichi targets? There is a biodiversity target by the CBD has been given. There are several of these biodiversity, state biodiversity boards are functioning, and how much marine biodiversity is conserved through this is a big question. National biodiversity action plans are there. How much are we following this? How much do we know? So there are several conference of parties are happening throughout the world. How much do we know? How much do we implement? This is the major question. Sustainable Development Goals is a recent one, and wherein how much is the marine aspect is included so that we can conserve for the future generation. This is a major question. We are also party to several of these conventions where our Prime Minister has signed, and then we are actually responsible for these treaties. As I told you, several acts are being implemented in the Parliament. Next one. For the conservation, there are many new acts are coming up. These are the recent one. Next one. So India is party to several of these international conventions. So how much do we know about this convention? There are about 50 different treaties India has signed, majority of which are legally binding. Are we actually interested in that? 560 multilateral treaties which cover a broad range of subject matters such as human rights. So there are conventions, treaties, and targets, developmental goals, strategy, and action plan. Are they going to conserve all these things? Or these government departments are going to conserve? Or these universities are going to conserve? So who is going to do all these things? This is what the major question. These youngsters now, those who are listening now, the future generation will not get any of these. Next one. There are several institutes which are working in this country, totally 216 major Indian institutes which are doing research, major research institutions working on marine organisms, marine biodiversity. So these are some of the universities, including Cochin and Trivandrum University, working mainly on the marine aspects. There are non-governmental organizations which are participating in this marine conservation. Next one. There are several museums to educate the local population. The gap between the well-read and layman is widening. That is why we could not conserve. We need to do a lot of awareness programs. There are marine aquariums available throughout the country. Next one. So there are a lot of guidebooks and monographs are there for the future studies. Next one. And these are the list of experts who have become extinct, not these animals. So these are the experts, those who have become extinct now. Next. So there are several groups wherein no expert is available. These are the expert database, very important for all of us. Next one. We are very much positively negative, especially selfish towards our future generation. Unless and until we really work hard doing research, we will have money, but you don't have any food available for the future generation. So man has lost the capacity to foresee and forestall. He will end by destroying the earth. It is not all the animals which I showed you, they are endangered. Only man is an endangered species because we have misused our land, allowed our waste to pollute only for the sake of money. You have to change your lifestyle, dear friends. Otherwise, you have to accept the very real prospect of extinction, maybe due to tsunami or due to pralayam, which is going to happen very soon. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hello. Those who have questions, there are some questions in the chat box. I will read out, sir.
Okay.
And there are or others can also straight away they can ask, or they can. Being an environment scientist student, it would be a nice opportunity for me to come here and get glimpse of marine biodiversity. I accidentally saw a post on FB about this presentation and managed to attend the last moment. There's some lag and difficult to understand, possibly because of my poor internet connection. Would request you please to send a link of the recording if that is possible, so that I can also go through it later. Please let me know. If anyone have doubts, questions, please use this chat box. Can we have a detail of a fellowship scheme to work on marine biodiversity studies? Sir, that is a good question. Venkataraman, sir.
Yes.
Please, there's one question from Vibul Solangi. He's asking, can we have detail of fellowship schemes to work in marine biodiversity studies?
As such, there is no such scheme available. We need to represent the government, and there is opportunity from DST on the taxonomy aspect. And Zoological Survey of India, through All India Coordinated Project, they tried their level best. There was a problem in distributing the money. So there are scope, but we need to hammer again and again, ask the government. Then only we'll be in a position to get such a separate scheme for marine biodiversity conservation and research. Yes.
So more questions, please. You will not get an opportunity like this to talk to Venkataraman sir, because you could see from the slides, he was just putting the slides, it was so packed. That's why he need to rush a little bit. But it's all, everything is, hands-on for him. So if at all you want to ask from any part of this lecture, you can just ask and he will be ready to provide you more information on that. Elaine, though government has implemented several laws and treaties, and we do know how much marine biodiversity and ecosystems got destructed. How much of restoration has happened or made possible from these implementations? Is there any hope in real? That's a good question from Elaine.
That's very interesting to know. Restoration is very difficult. Destruction is rampant. We need to stop the destruction. Say, for example, corals, they grow millimeter. There are a lot of restoration efforts are happening in the country, but it takes a lot of time, money, and energy. So restoration is very important now. There are a lot of mitigation measures have been given by the government, but actually it is not happening because nobody is coming forward. So everybody is interested in making money. Where the money is there they will be working. So that is the real problem. See, the basic science is now really a big problem. I have shown you several of those scheduled species just for you to see the picture. Even the authorities, they cannot identify those species which are scheduled, protected one. When I go to the court, I have gone to the court several times. There the question is, how do you identify? So how do we identify? Several of those species, we have to tell them. So because several of those management authorities, they don't identify, they don't understand how important the taxonomy is. I've seen several of these, youngsters are interested in taxonomy. But what is the scope after completion of this? So when I started my career, my professor said, you are not going to get a job if you do taxonomy. So that is what the position some 30, 40 years before. Even now the same thing is existing. We also tried our level best to talk to the United Nations and also to the government that every national park, marine national park and a marine sanctuary should have one marine biologist so that he can identify and support the government. So we need to actually, work hard to work with the government and then need to inform them that this is the need of the hour. Because we need to educate the politician, we need to educate the policy makers, Not only that, we need to update our knowledge on marine biodiversity. This is very important.
Sir, there is another request, the book of marine invertebrate field guide, or you can just sell some authors. That would be a very useful information for those who work on marine invertebrates. Is there any field guide which you recommend, or is there any reference book you can suggest?
So there are a lot of books which are available here and there. There is, as such, there is no field guide to identify. I can also show you one thing which I have made. This is the identification for fishes. So identification for crabs. This is for the beginners. So we need to know, we need to have several of those identification guides, because people are not interested in making those small things. As I told you, the gap between the well-read and layman or the beginners is widening. Unless and until these field guides, identification guides are made, it is very difficult to learn the taxonomy. See, to gain the expertise, one has to work 30 years.
Yes, sir. That is, a very important point here. I just wanted to intervene. The layman and the connect between the layman and the science people, researchers and postdocs and all. I've recently gone through a Nature article specifically focusing on that. Unless otherwise, you are not able to talk to the layman about your science in a very convincing and simple manner, the net effect of your science is not going to reach in an impactful manner. So it's very important while you write, while you publish your papers in high-end science journals, it is equally important that you develop a good communication skill, good understanding about the stuff in your local language and communicate to the layman. But then probably there is more impact. I'll come back to some more questions, sir. We have one student from Poland. Her name is Joanna Chosek. Sir, you showed a map of India with marked marine biodiversity regions. When you were starting the career, were there more of such regions, or it looks somehow the same? No, that's a good question. Like whether there are more marine biodiversity regions now than at the start of your career.
When I started my career, the total number of biodiversity I have published in 2005. Myself and Dr. Waffer, we published. So that time it was only 9,000, 10,000. Now it has increased 21,000. The experts are slowly increasing, but the region is now, the rich regions are coming down. Say for example, the Park Bay, when Pillai was started from CMFRA, Coral Reef Studies, now when I went there, almost the whole area is completely deserted. There is no coral there. It is all being killed. So several of these areas are going away. The only near pristine coral reef area or marine biodiversity area is available where human beings are less in number, especially in Lakshadweep as well as in Andaman Nicobar. Did I answer the question, sir?
Yeah, I think, Joanna, Chosek, I hope you got your answer. And there is Elaine also, there's a very relevant point here. Sir, also you have mentioned about advancement of aquaculture into the ocean. But the aquaculture development itself is causing biodiversity destruction, including greenhouse gas emission and eutrophication, and also massive mangrove habitat destruction. Shouldn't we be having intensified inland advanced aquaculture practices with sustained recycling of water, with the lesser use of land and zero discharge of effluent into coastal ecosystem? That is a good question, sir. What's your take on this?
It's a very interesting, sir. This is not happening in India. Throughout the world, aquaculture is happening, but they are not destroying the ecosystem. But in India, we want to gain more. We don't want to spend anything. There are several technologies are available. Those technologies we don't want to use because it is costly. And for your information, so for the equipments you need for aquaculture, we only depend on other countries. We don't manufacture any of these, engineering equipments which are needed for aquaculture. So aquaculture is the future, but we have to do the real aquaculture, spending a lot of money and the technology. Unless and until you do that, you will be, gaining a lot of money, losing your ecosystem, losing your environment. This is what happening now. The thing really is very important. There should be authority which has to look after all these things. I don't know what is happening in the field, but aquaculture is the only future, because the land we are now cultivating, the same way we have to cultivate in the sea, then only we can survive in the future. The future generation needs only aquaculture. This is what my view is, sir.
So there is one final question I'll give from Vivek KP. And this is, sir, how can we sustainably manage our marine ecosystems? Also use it for commercial purposes, as money is also a necessary thing, but also is our environment. So how to have that commercial and sustainable environment balance of marine ecosystems? Very relevant.
Excellent, sir. Very good. It's a $1 million question. I have been spending 30 years of my life creating awareness. The main problem is we are not aware, not only at the scientist level or educated level, even at the political and policy makers level, the same question is coming again and again. Because we don't aware, we don't do the right research which is needed. See, the main problem is prioritization of priority itself is a priority. Which one you will give priority? The main problem is we give priority to something else than what is really needed. That is why there are a lot of work which is being, repetition is happening. What is to be really done, nobody is doing. This real question is being asked several times by several people. But I am asking the same question to the young man who has asked this question. He has to develop some of those, sustainable use methodologies and to be implemented. As I told you, there are 33 different acts are there. How many of these acts are being implemented? 110%, 100%, tell me. There are several policy documents are there. Several of those treaties have been signed. They are all legally binding treaties. What are we going to do with all these things? If we cannot protect with all these 33 different acts, 50 different treaties, are we going to make some different new act? See, we are all habitual offenders. When you travel in a bike, when you see the red light, immediately you look for policeman. If the policeman is not there, we go away. There are a lot of government is there everywhere. We need governance. Governance by the public, the governance by the people. Unless and until you govern yourself, you cannot expect the government to come and then do that. There is no such thing called government. We are the government. We need to work on this, and you can keep on asking this question to everybody. You will not get the answer. You have to work for that. This is what my answer is.
Yes. So many thanks, sir. And it was a very wonderful interaction we had. As he has said, I always very strongly feel like we are just part of this nature. We are just one part of it. Of course, we probably say with intelligent, but we can only live in sync with nature, in tune with nature. The greed is definitely self-destroying stuff. That's what we are experiencing. The nature will prevail. Nature, I have seen recently one thing on BBC, like how the Chernobyl site, after the explosion and all, they left it as it is. Now it is covered with a lot of plants, lot of activity. Man is not there. Nature will restore by in itself. But as he said, the man is going to suffer unless otherwise we strike balance with nature, or we, as in the case of aquaculture, the greed factor is always overtaking. So we are not really investing in technologies which can have, sustainable, continued, reasonable profits. Instead, we wanted to have profits in lots. Only profit is the idea. So that greed never going to sustain. Greed will crash by itself. And as a part of that crash, we will definitely suffer. So in nature, as far as your outlook nature is concerned, our first thing which we have to deeply ingrained in our mind is that we are just part of nature. We cannot grow over the nature, which is the whole thing. We can just be part of it, grow with the nature as a part of it, and be happy, be contented. You have a very peaceful, healthy life when you live as part of nature. But that is definitely people are not getting the point. What they feel, nature is not responding to them, and so they just loot. But it is responding to them very powerfully in terms of polluted air, in terms of polluted soil, in terms of polluted water, more cancers, more emerging infectious diseases, more coronary issues, more allergies. You put more and more money to safeguard your health, but you are not going to succeed. So the thing is that you have to understand this point very deep and very clearly, and you convince those people, layman also, because we are a system where a lot of people there. So we have a social responsibility too. And also as science, we have to practice science, we have to understand science, we have to use it in a very responsible way, so that probably things will change. Let us all work together for a better future, better ecosystem, better environment, for a happy, sustained, enjoyable way of life on this planet Earth. I'm now coming back to my job of offering vote of thanks to my dear sir, Professor Venkataraman sir. He has, given you lots and lots of information. As I said, since so much is there, he cannot give sufficient time to the slides, but the slides are self-explanatory. We can even share the slides with you there, where you can actually go through and understand further. So it was a fantastic session, and he is a very, very busy man because knowledge is power. Knowledge is the most powerful thing on earth. So if you are knowledgeable, you are wanted. You are, wanted by people. People will be behind you all the time. So you also develop, as a knowledgeable person in your field, and share your knowledge, responsibly use your knowledge, and become all that. So here, I would like to thank you, sir. Our immense thanks to you for your wonderful time and your huge collection of slides, which has given a lot of, insight about the biodiversity as such, marine diversity in particular, as well as the expeditions, the how the marine biology expeditions started, the history, all those things. It was a very comprehensive stuff. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. We really appreciate. We will have continued interaction. I also thank all the students and professors watching it from elsewhere, because this is again a success of technology, where we are not stopping anything due to COVID. We are actually connected, well connected world over, and we are using very many platforms to share our lectures, discussions, and all those things. So I thank all those who are watching from different places in giving their inputs to the thing, or simply understanding, listening, and becoming a transformed person. I also thank all those ask questions, very relevant questions. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all a very good afternoon and nice lunch and restful post-afternoon session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, sir.